Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Therapy, and our guest for today is Ms. Harkirat Arora. Hello ma'am, thank you for coming to our platform. It's so great to have you.
Hi, Ruchita. It's really nice that you've taken this initiative and you have given this platform to all the mental health experts to come in and share their point of view. So that's really great what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay. So before we just begin, I just wanted to mention certain things that there's nothing right or wrong here, or this is no substitute to therapy. This is just for educational purpose. And if you find any information that is really interesting, that is something that builds curiosity in you, you can definitely go online, search for that information, or you can also even seek for therapy if you want to. That's completely on you. Yeah.
Right. All right. Ma'am, could you also just quickly introduce yourself so our listeners know who they're listening to?
Sure. So I've done my master's in clinical psychology, and I have also been trained in various other therapies. So currently, I'm working in an NGO as a lead psychologist, and I'm associated with a lot of clinics. And I work mainly with children, adolescents, and young adults. So that's about me.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, ma'am, and shall we jump into the questions now?
Sure.
Okay, right. So the first question, it says, what do you say to a person who's anxious without undermining their feelings? How do I help the person, sorry, and not be affected myself?
Right. So there are two things here. One is that she really wants to help the friend. I'm just taking an example of a friend here. And the other is that she also wants to take care of herself, where she's protecting herself as well. So one important thing that she has to decide is, at this moment, how is she feeling? What kind of boundaries would she like to set for herself, right? As emotional self-care, and for her friend as well, both ways. And also communicating those boundaries, because so that the friend is aware that whenever I have a conversation with her or with him, she knows exactly what to expect from the friend. So setting boundaries is very important. Also, secondly, what I think is, once we start taking charge of others life, that's where we feel overwhelmed, anxious, and there's some kind of pressure that comes in. So clearly here the responsibility is not to take charge of her life. It's not to fix her problems, but to know what do you want to offer. So do you want to offer just listening to her, getting into phone call conversations? Do you want to visit her, or do you want to do something else? So that is something you need to keep in mind. Another very important factor, I think, is, validating whatever she's feeling at the moment. You know, so statements like, just chill, it's okay, you're overreacting, you're overthinking, you're having imaginary conversations, and I can go so on and so forth. I mean, we all are aware about it, that this does not work. But on the other hand, using empathetic statements like, I hear you, I know this is a struggle. And sometimes you can be even honest to them, saying that I do not have answers to all the questions that you're asking me today, or I don't know how to deal with the situation, but I am here at the moment. Right? So that is very important, to make them feel heard, to make that space for them, because that's the reason someone is venting out to you, right? To feel heard, to be understood, right? And another thing that you can clearly even ask is that, do you just want to win today, or do you want to solve this problem, or do you want to keep problem solving for later? I think today it's just that you're a little stressed. Let's just hear you out completely. So, statements that comfort the other person, because that's what the other person is looking for. Or
True.
you could directly even ask what the other person is looking for, because some people directly say, even as therapists, they say it on our face that I'm not looking for empathy today, I'm looking for problem solving, and I just want to sort this out. So it's best to ask them. It is not at all rude, you're just being honest and you're being yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Right. All right. So the second question, it says, I feel anxious quite often. Can I get rid of this and focus on my work?
Okay, so there are three parts again to this question. One is that he or she is completely aware about their emotions and their feelings. Second part is there is some different perception about being anxious, and hence the question is coming as how should I get rid of it? So it's a different perception. Uh, we can tap on that what are the advantages and disadvantages of anxiety, right? Because maybe it is a uncomfortable emotion, but not necessarily that it is something bad. It is not something to be felt. So emotions or feelings are meant to be felt, right? That's the reason there's emotional wheel, the emotional system is there, right? So that is one of the factors. And the second is that you could decide if you want to act on it. Like, say for example, I'm angry. I understand I'm angry at the moment, I'm anxious at the moment. I have a choice if I want to act on it or not, right? So feeling anxious is completely okay. The more you control it, the more you suppress it, it is going to come in some form in another situation, right? Right.
Yeah.
And what happens mostly with people is avoiding the situations or escaping from the situations is the first level of response. It's quite natural where people tend to avoid that situation. So once we start to avoid the situation, we are trying to strengthen the anxiety towards that situation. What I mean is, say for example, I am anxious about talking to someone and I'm avoiding that situation completely. Now I am getting that comfort for some time. Okay, so I'm comfortable, I'm not talking to that person at the moment, and I'm very comfortable about it. But on the other hand, day by day, my anxiety is increasing and strengthening towards that situation. So we need to understand what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages again of avoiding. So avoidance gives you short-term relief. It's like Crocin. I'm having a headache. I pop a Crocin. I'm relieved. Yay, I'm done. I'm good to go. Right? But then the issue comes later when you've not addressed the problem or you've not faced the issue for a very long time. So that is something you need to keep in mind, right? Um, I have another question about getting rid. So suppose a friend knocks at the door and says, I'm in trouble and I need your help, right? So what would you do? You would generally open the door, you would let the person in, you would offer water, food, relax, and then ask, "What's up? What exactly happened? What's been going on? Like, why are you so bothered?" Right? That's exactly what we need to do with anxiety. That's exactly what we need to rehearse every day: is be comfortable, be friends with anxiety. Then only we will be able to tolerate, because the aim is to tolerate anxiety and not suppress it or control it or to get rid of it. The moment you start doing that, it will start increasing for sure.
Okay. Okay. Right. All right. Okay. So the last question. I overthink most of the time, and meditation is not my thing. So how do I practice being present in the moment?
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that is very important is understanding what are your inner stories like. You know, what are you continuously telling yourself the whole day? What are the situations that you are anxious about? So, you could actually do this exercise also, where you have this list of situations that make you anxious and what are you thinking at that very moment. Okay, so you might just understand your pattern of what do you generally think when you're anxious, and what are the situations that trigger anxiety. That is something very important. Another thing that you can actually understand is, where is it stemming from. So for example, I'll give you an example also. So I'm constantly keeping a check on my girlfriend. Okay, I'm going to see messages, I am going to see the last scene, I am going to keep a call again and again, because I'm anxious about the fact that what if it doesn't work, what if it doesn't happen, what am I going to do? So here the anxiety is stemming from, I don't know, the person needs to think, is it fear of change, fear of being alone, fear of unknown, because that's where it's coming from. We don't know. Future is unknown, and we really can't guarantee anything. Even if you plan today something, maybe it might work, it might not work, right? So that's where uncertainty steps in. So, to be mindful about where it is stemming from, what is the fear, what is the root cause. And once you start facing your fears, I think that will decline anxiety automatically. Right? So optimum level of anxiety is necessary. It is good. It is healthy. It's a performance enhancer, right? So for example, when the child is anxious about exams, which means he's going to study and pass in some way. But if I have casual attitude and I don't care about it, I'm
Yeah.
not going to study,
Yeah.
right? So anxiety is beneficial in some form. Another thought work that I would, ask you to reflect on is, there are certain themes, and of course in one interview you can't cover all the themes, but I'll just cover two of them. uh, Mostly anxiety is about fortune telling. You kind of start making predictions. What if this happens, what if that happens, what if I lose my job, you know what if I become homeless. So we kind of start predicting situations that have not occurred. And secondly, we start jumping to conclusions, or thinking about worst possible scenarios. So these are the three themes that I'm talking about at the moment. And you might experience this most of the times, that maybe it's a hypothetical situation or a realistic situation. So for example, the realistic situation right now is that I've had a small financial loss. Okay, now I start predicting and fortune telling myself, oh my god, now I've lost this, which means I've lost funds. Then what if I lose this job? What if I'm homeless? And I can go on and so forth, right? So this is like a tendency where we imagine the worst case scenario. So it's very important to be conscious about what we are thinking. What is the thought like? So you can label your thoughts rather than labeling yourself. Okay, so I am having a fortune teller thought, instead of saying I'm a fortune teller, I know everything and I can predict everything, right? So that is one of the important points when it comes to thought work. Another reminder could be that, you know, uh, all thoughts are not true, or they can be true or they cannot be true. I'll give you an example again. Say, for example, I ask you right now, which is your favorite food?
Okay.
And you will have the same reaction as you will have when the food is right in front of you. Your mouth is going to water, you are going to crave for it, you will want to put it in your mouth. So that's the reaction when realistically the food is in front of you, right?
Right.
And if you're imagining, then also your body is going to respond in the same similar manner. So a thought can be true or not be true, we don't know, but our body has the tendency of responding in a similar manner. So again, it's a good reminder to tell yourself that objective self coming in, popping up in between, saying that, hey, you know what, we really don't know if this is going to happen or no, or if this is true or no. Let's just focus on the work, right? So I think there's this one really good activity that I usually do is I just tell my clients to sit and watch the news, and there are these small updates that are coming in down, right? So in those updates, you are basically watching, but you react to those thoughts. You react to the news, okay, and then you go back to whatever the news is flashing at the moment, and you'll concentrate on it, right? That's how your tasks are. That's how your productivity is. Your thoughts are going to come in. It's like you are just observing them. You might react to it. You might get anxious, and it's completely okay with it. But what's the point is coming back to the main news, to the main task, and focusing on it.
Right.
So, these are certain reminders when you're working on it. So, you can just remind that, am I fortune telling? Am I, you know, um, thinking about worst case scenarios? Is it a hypothetical situation, or is it a realistic situation? Another thing that could also work is postponing your worries, where you can talk about, so suppose you're doing a task and you start worrying about something, and you ask yourself, can I postpone this worry for later? Can I worry about this later once I finish the task? And if it's not urgent, and then you can address it via journaling or via talking to somebody, or
Right.
the way it is. This is just going to build your tolerance level, because sometimes there are certain situations that are right there in front of you and you cannot solve it. That's for sure. Okay, so all we do is to increase our tolerance level towards those situations, towards the perception, or towards our thoughts also. Because the moment we start feeling uncomfortable, our first goal is, I want to feel better. I want to feel happy. That's the goal,
Yeah.
right? So maybe we could consider about just tolerating anxiety at that very moment, right?
Okay. Right.
I think the last point that I would really want to add is about uncertainty,
Okay.
because I think this is like one of the crucial things that a lot of people are going during pandemic.
Right now.
So just a little bit about uncertainty here.
Definitely. Yeah.
Uh, so I think happens with uncertain situations, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in career, or whether it's in anything, any aspect of your life, what happens with us is we tend to overestimate the probable situation. Like, say, again, we will start thinking about the worst case scenario. And what we do is we underestimate our skills and our behavior. So you see the imbalance, you start overestimating the situation where you say, yeah, I'm going to be homeless and I won't be able to cope with it. So
Right.
that's the balance, that imbalance you have.
Right.
So in order to deal with uncertainty, what we could focus on is come up realistic probable situation. If you really want to work on it, and you really want to imagine some situation or some probable situation, and also having a realistic point of view on what are your skills, what is your behavior like, what are the skills required for uncertainty. So for example, adaptability, resilience, right? Change management skills, because uncertainty is going to have its highs and lows always. So today maybe my partner is talking to me really well and I'm feeling good about it, then tomorrow he's not talking to me and I'm not feeling about it. Or maybe in my job, some days they are telling me, okay, we're going to remove everybody, and some days they're telling us that we're not going to remove anybody. I think we are in control. The situation is in control. So we're going to have our highs and lows, highs and lows. What we need to do is to focus on what kind of skills we're going to have. So if my tolerance level is high, my adaptability is high, I'm sure that no matter any situation comes in my life, I'm going to be able to deal with it.
Okay.
So that is from my side, and I hope all these educational purpose knowledge helps you. And if you still feel the need of seeking therapy, please do. It does really help.
Right.
uh, and you can even go online if you want. You can read Psychology Today. You can follow psychologists on Instagram. You could even put something on YouTube like CBT exercises for anxiety. It really helps. I'm just trying to give you certain verified sites or things
Yeah.
to follow for mental health, rather than going for people who are not trained in it and who are just uh, giving their point of view and their experience, which is completely okay, but just from the research and technical point of view. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think this was really, really helpful, especially all your examples. I think we found it really easy to relate to them. So thank you for coming, and I hope our audience really enjoys this.
I hope so too. All the best
Thank
for
you.
you and the platform, and please keep on doing the good work.
Thank you so much. All right, ma'am. Bye bye. Hey guys, I hope you liked today's episode. Do help us with this initiative by subscribing to our channel. Please do like our video, comment, and send in lots of questions in the link that's in the description box. Thank you guys.